Good morning, people. Wow, what a bevy, you're already there. Amazing. Should I say amazing grace? Okay, here we are at G.school, where our goal, okay, I was hoping to send a link to this thing, to the new Christian women's home, to the people there, so they could be joining in on us, but I don't seem to have the link. There we go. There we go. Okay, sorry for that. We'll edit that out, right? Okay, so good morning, Wadabevi. Good morning, Maticus von Atticus. We had a big day yesterday at the Christian women's home. Busy, 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 moving in furniture, moving people around, taking the bad roof off the building. A lot of things happening here, there, everywhere. Go, 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 go. And now today is the day for church. So I just sent a link to Maria. Hopefully she will join in and participate in this chat. But introduction. So good morning. This is Department of Career Services, where our goal is to help you on your journey through life. And who do we mean by you? Well, we really mean our students and anyone else that is interested. This is not designed for believers, and it is not designed for people who are successful, though all are welcome. It's designed for non-believers who are not successful, and it's to help you on this one-time only journey through life, through this life, with a belief that we have a transcendent soul. So this isn't it. We're not just atoms in the void. And if we're not just atoms in the void, it makes sense to want to know, well, what comes next? What's the next thing? And so at Department of Career Services, we're here to help you through this life, to have the tools and learn how to use the tools, all in preparation for what comes. So we are not, so on in G.school, okay, cut back. So we have a 4-part transformation process through this life: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Weekends, we focus on the spiritual. We call that G.school. The rest of the week, we focus on the physical, mental, and emotional, with some spiritual thrown in, just for seasoning. But where's the beef is it's the spiritual. That's the thing, that's the important thing, because if we have a transcendent soul, that's what we need to be focused on. What comes next? We're here to help with that. However, the biggest thing, the biggest way to help is simply to create better habits. We help you create better habits, replace habits with better habits. How do we do that? We do that through repetition, repetition, repetition. And what is that? That's a routine. Start with a new routine, repetition, repetition, repetition. It gets a little bit easier, gets a little bit better, gets a little bit more focused, etc., etc., etc. And then we just keep working on it a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. So that is the purpose. Showing up is 90% of it. 90% is showing up. The other 20% is in the worksheet, as Yogi Berra might say. Okay, so Maticus von Atticus has air conditioning. Great. Okay, it's very important. No men in the house. Now that we're officially started, men are not supposed to go into the house. And if Jamie comes out today, does it, She's going to make that a point. And Frank is going to get her to understand the value and importance of having an Untermensch, an Untersergeant at the property, somebody with Matt's capabilities to be there for just in case. So, what is the theme of today? I don't know. Johnny? Well, so Wadabevi, what do you have to tell us about your day at work, your last Saturday at work in Virginia? What can you tell us about that? Atticus von Atticus, what can you tell us about your AC, your AC? What can you tell us about that? I left early, but it went okay before that. You left early. That's not good. Why did you leave early? Matt knows why. Okay. LOL, good one, Matt. My hack is cool, literally. Okay. And I am a fecal marshal. Okay, cool. That's good. All right. I need to do one more thing here. One more thing. Okay, so the count all of the messages. I was feeling mental. Oh, okay. Okay, well, and then what did you do? Where did you go? All right, so the theme of today, G.school, number 50, episode 50. Why does God allow suffering? Anybody want to take a crack at that? Anybody want to take it? Why does God allow suffering? That is the big question. That's the question that atheists cling to. Why they're atheists. Why would a benevolent God allow suffering? Why do innocent children die of cancer? Why do they die in the Sudan of starvation? Why would a good God allow that? What are the Four Noble Truths? What is one of the Four Noble Truths that have to do with this? What does Jordan Peterson say? Life is suffering. All of the major religions say that. Life is suffering. Okay, but the question is, why would God allow suffering? Why would he allow suffering? Teach us. So from a Copernican perspective, Copernican revolution perspective, why would God allow suffering? And the answer is, I would say the answer is, it's not to allow something would mean to be to consciously make a decision that it's permissible, right? So if somebody else turns on the bathtub and it overflows and you live in the house but you didn't know about it, would you say that you allowed the tub to overflow? You're unaware of it. You're unaware the water's on. You have no need to know the water's on. Let's say it's in the house next door. Did you allow the tub to overflow? No. You didn't allow it to overflow. You weren't aware of it. You weren't conscious of it. It wasn't your job. You had no duty, no responsibility whatsoever regarding preventing it or not letting it occur, right? Okay, I say in a Copernican revolution perspective, it's the same thing with God and suffering. He doesn't allow suffering to occur. God doesn't, the creator, let's say the creator, because if you say God, people have these images, old man, big white robe, making decisions, has a plan for everybody. But the creators of the creators of the universe, they don't allow suffering. Suffering is the nature of the universe. If you look at it from the perspective of pain or pleasure, if you look at it from that perspective, that if there's pain, it means there's suffering versus there's growth. You know, when a chicken pecks its egg or a chick pecks its way out of an egg, is that suffering? The mad scramble. When a child is born and it has to pass through the whatever, is that suffering? Yeah, you could say, yeah, it's actually suffering. But on the other hand, no, it's not really suffering. It's just part of what it is. Part of what it is. If you, back to our Copernican thing, if this is the man and this is the universe and God is over here, if you replace man with God, God is at the center of the universe, and man is just part of it, like everything else, then suffering, then God isn't allowing suffering to happen. He's unaware of it. Creator is unaware of the suffering that's in the world. Why? Because it's not important. It's just part of the nature of the universe. It's part of the nature of life. When a star gets sucked into a black hole, crosses the event horizon, and goes into a black hole, would you say that's suffering? Well, you have to say it's suffering. No, there's no life on that. Well, what if there is life on that planet or that solar system, whatever, that gets sucked into the black hole? What if, is that suffering? Yeah. Why does God allow it? It's not that God allows it or doesn't allow it. It's part of the way things are. There's birth, growth, death, or decay and death. That's just part of it. There's no, a lot to say God allows it is the wrong, I think Jordan Peterson, to have a Jordan Peterson type approach. It's the wrong question. Why does God allow suffering? It's the wrong question. It's not something God allows. It's the nature of the way things are. The question is, what do you do about it? And I would just posit, if you say, well, suffering is the way things are. It's like the seasons. It comes and goes. There's ebbs and flows. And yes, I don't feel good now. There's suffering. I'm suffering now. This sucks. But you know what? It's going to end. And we could say, paraphrasing President Nixon, that only if you have been down to the lowest valley can you appreciate the view from the highest mountain. Truly appreciate, okay? So suffering is just part of the way things are. It should not be part of somebody atheist because of the way things are. Now, Wadabevi, if you're still there, what does Buddhism say about? What are the Four Noble Truths, or what is the noble truth regarding suffering? Suffering. Why does God allow suffering? Wrong question. God doesn't allow suffering. It's part of the way things are. There's birth, there's growth, there's development, there's decay, and then there's death. It's how things are. And you say you turn on the ignition to your car and you're burning fuel, you're burning gasoline. Gasoline is burning. Is that suffering? If you put your hand on it, that would be suffering, right? There would be pain. If all things are part of the universe, and let's go to way out there, we're all part of one consciousness, Everything is part of everything else. You could argue that, when a volcano erupts, that's suffering because it's destroying what? What was there before the volcano? You could say, no, it's actually beauty. And when the lava goes down into the ocean and more land mass, you could say, well, that's creating. On the other hand, you could say, no, that's suffering for whatever was alive in the path of lava, including going down into the water and having now these poisonous fumes come up. Okay? There is a cause, there is an end. Cultivating the path, the Eightfold Path leads to the end. Okay? So why is there suffering? Because it's the nature of the way things are. Accept it. It's just part of the way things are. And then Jordan Peterson would say, work to reduce it. Work to reduce it. One way is to meditate. Just take a break. Take a break, go back, realign, recalibrate, and then get back into the game, as Wadabevi did. Okay, so how are you feeling today, Wadabevi? Are you blessed or are you blast? Are you on blast or are you blessed? What do you say? What, Wadabevi? If you're still there, and then we're going to wrap this up because it's Sunday. It's Choich Day. Hoping that Maria, grateful, great. Okay, so you're going to grate the cheese. You're going to rub off the outer layer. You're going to wear it down. You're full of being grated. Suffering, no refinement, no turning it from one state to another state. Oh, okay, I want to quickly talk about new thing I had. Darren Hardy the other day talked about Jell-O Thursday. Jell-O, how great dessert. I remember Jell-O fondly from when I was a kid because that was kind of the staple for everybody for dessert, every family at some point, and every school event, every cafeteria day at some point. Everybody had Jell-O, and Darren Hardy mentioned it's a great dessert, and he adds real whipped cream to it. Well, so I the store-bought Jell-O, really, really cheap. It's not that expensive to make it in my rice cooker, or at least I boil the water in the rice cooker, make it, put it in the refrigerator, and bingo, bango, bongo. And then it's great. And you can have as much as you want because it's like 10 calories per serving. So, and then the puddings. So I'm not really sure about the puddings, but I think they're 20 calories per serving. Still not a lot. But yeah, I recommend everybody Jell-O. It's a lot of fun. And then you can add stuff to it. So one day I added blueberries. And now in the pudding, I added walnuts, crushed walnuts to give it a little bit of a crunch. Anyway, with that in mind, let's end it for today. G.school, once again, Copernican revolution, put God at the center of the universe, and remember this, we have a transcendent soul. Be prepared for it. Jesus is the creator incarnate. And he said, if you want to be one with the Father and I, if you want to have everlasting life, and in John 3:16, God says, if you believe in him, you will have everlasting life. If you do that, Jesus broke it down really simple. 2 things you need to do. 1, love thy neighbor with all thy heart. Love God with all thy heart and mind and soul, and love one another as I have loved you. That's John 15:12. Those are the 2 things you need to do. Not easy, but simple. Okay? Don't need to have a million Bible quotes at hand, ready to sling them. Nope, don't need that. Just need to do the thing. Relationship with Jesus. Turn Jesus from an idea into a relationship. Boom. Okay. And with that, we're going to say cut and cut.